Hello and welcome to Basement Fodder, the only show whose host can't go 5 feet in a Comic-Con without finding a friend. I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel like a rock star sometimes when we go to Comic-Cons because like, everybody's like, hey, I come over here. Hey, that guy, come over here.
My friends always give me shit because they're like, I can't take you anywhere that you don't see somebody you already know. And I'm like, I like to travel and I meet a lot of people. Go fuck yourself. Like, I can't help it.
I have friends from all walks of life, and I enjoy all their different walks.
Air quotation friends. You know?
Air quotation.
Air quotation friends. Yeah.
But we're not alone this week.
Nope.
We're joined by a multi-time guest to the Basement of Doom, the theoretical Basement of Doom that no longer exists, but we're in a Basement of Doom state of mind.
Yeah. Which now lives in a living room.
The man responsible for immortalizing us as comic characters of our own and our awesome, amazing webcomic, The Basement of Doom. And I'm talking about none other than the man himself, Mike Watson.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? That was one hell of an intro.
I gotta be like Dirk. What did I say about Dirk yesterday? He's the great verbal masturbator.
He is. That name is so... Oh, after... Like, I watch... Like, I go to shows, you see Dirk operate, you see him sell books. Like, you know, I go over and visit his table, and I'm like, and this man has just got a mouthpiece on him. But then, this past weekend at Jim City...
He serenaded you, didn't he?
Yeah! It was just... No holds bars. He just unleashed it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when Dana opens up the refrigerator in Ghostbusters and just all this light is coming out. And just like
that's why I truly take it as a huge compliment and a great like joy that I've actually silenced that man. You hand him his own comic that's been attached to my junk and make him sign it and then tell him about it. He literally is just like.
That was Jump City last year.
I have nothing to say. I'm holding your cock, basically. But, welcome to the game, Dirk. You lose.
He was straight singing like modified Tom Jones at you with lyrics based on you. And at one point, he called Matt Metzger White Devil.
he did.
Oh, poor Pogues.
But Pogues is the White Devil. In the book, he is the White Devil. He's like the little imp, White Devil. You know?
But I think we'll be getting the Pogues in the second chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I realized before we started doing this is almost a year. I think it's a year to the week almost that we did the show last year about the birth of Legacy. And how oddly fitting is it that we're back talking about this now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give it just a quick little thing that this is going to be a hell of a story that you guys are going to hear.
It'll be an epic rant.
We want to make sure that we say that this is one side of how things went down. And we want to make sure that people know that there's always two sides to every story. But we as friends and as supporters of Mike's work felt like this was an opportunity for him to have an open forum to talk about how he feels about the situation that happened with Legacy. And draw your own conclusions. And I know Doug is probably not going to listen to this, but if you're listening to this, you're more than welcome to rebut if you have something you'd like to say, if you'd like to be spoken to about this too. I have absolutely no problem with that. But I, as a supporter of Mike's work, as a friend, I feel like it's essential that this story gets told. Dave, I don't know if you have anything you want to say about it.
No.
Alright. Well, sir.
I mean, that was what was said. Yeah.
The floor is yours. I will let you talk about it as much as you want to talk about it.
I don't know where to begin at. So, I mean, if you guys follow or, you know, I've been on the show several times, and every time I'm on the show or every time you see my Facebook page or whatnot, you've heard me chanting and ranting and raving about Legacy Rising publications, new imprint. I brought all my comics over there, including my flagship book, Hotshot. Let me get this out the way first. Don't ever think, no matter how upsetting and unsettling the situation is, that I don't appreciate what Legacy and its owners have done for me. Prior to me working for Legacy, what Doug has done for me. I appreciate every moment of it, and it's what made me cherish our friendship and, want to be around him and his family. I consider them an extension of my family. I've gotten a lot of opportunities since working with him. And I can definitely say I appreciate it. It's helped rocket me to other areas in the indie scene, along with me already having years of experience in the indie scene. So I don't doubt for one moment what has been done for me, and I would have never, in the words of the bride in Kill Bill, could you have done what you did? Of course you could have. Yeah. Would I have thought that you would have done that to me? Never. So, the long and short, or the biggest thing, is that I was fired from Legacy Rising Publications. Because that's how I see it. My contract was canceled. I was told that my books weren't up to snuff. Because, through hearsay, because I haven't seen anything official, Diamond rejected the books. And Legacy was told there was 0 chances of any of my books getting into Diamond. And so I publish Hotshot, Vigilance, which, by the way, are the #1 selling books at that publisher. The #1 selling books and #2 selling books. Just wanted to get some clarification for some people that don't know how to count. Heroes International and Emerald Quest. The reason that I was given was that if you're not the top 15 publishers within the Diamond Distribution magazine, those books don't sell. Doesn't matter how good they are. Doesn't matter how good the story is. Doesn't matter how professional it looks. None of that matters. If you're not in the top 15, Diamond does not sell those books. Not that Diamond doesn't carry them. They just don't sell for Diamond. And that's what I was told that Diamond said the first time it was submitted. Second time, I don't even know if it got submitted to Diamond. I was just told that a friend of the owner of Diamond, close personal friend of the owner of Diamond, so let's call him Friend A, said that the books have 0 chances of getting in. And he's seen our second issues, apparently. Our second issues, let me tell you, Luke, Micah, Meljoy San Juan, Carrie Kelly, Quinn McGowan, Veronica Smith, Gary Mitchell, and last but not effing least, Danny and Cooper busted their asses on these second issues. Sacrificing, going back, redrawing stuff, recoloring stuff, edit time. We were doing meetings once a week with each creative team. Sometimes 2-3 hours, sometimes 4 hours a week. Not counting any of the time that Danny and I just spent on editing the books and processing things and tying everything together. The thing that Mr. Sims kept saying is he wants us to put out the best possible books that we can put out. And that's what Danny and I's goals were, to put out the best possible books. And if anybody knows me and knows my past, working with Victor Dandridge, you know me and Victor and I rather, we're always about what can we do to make the books better. We were never happy with the status of our books. We always wanted to know what could be better about them. Shit, we challenged Robert Kirkman and Invincible with Victor's first Dare to Compare. That was Victor's first. That was the first time Victor did it, and he suggested. And I was like, "No, we're not ready to do that." And Victor's like, "Yes, the fuck we are. We're going to do it. We're going to Dare to Compare. If you like Invincible, you're going to like our book, and if you don't, tell us why." And that's how we got into the huge ass fight with Eric Larson on the Image Comics spread forum. So we have no shame in hearing someone say they don't like our books and telling us how to improve them. So when that statement was made, put out the best books that you possibly can make, I would send out free copies to people, have them read them, message them back, send them out to get reviews. Well, I can speak for my books. They got tore up. Comic Bastards reviewed Vigilance and Hotshot. Hotshot got a 3 out of 5. Vigilance got a 2 out of 5. Okay, kept it moving. I took the content I felt that was that I agreed with, and what I didn't agree with, I kept on moving with it. So, me and Danny were very big advocates of working on these books and making them as good as we can. Did we get into arguments with our creative teams? Did we have disagreements? Yes, we did. Was everyone happy with the choices that we made or what we initiated? No, they weren't. But those books and that time and effort that we put, the sacrificing that people did, the rewriting, all the hours and stuff, those are the best books that have been produced since those number ones. They are loads better than the first ones, and I'm not just saying that to be bragging. So, to be told that the friend of the owner of Diamond says the books have zero chance of getting in there, that's kind of like a slap in the face. Like, but you know, it's not a submission, right? That's not submitting into Diamond and actually getting a rejection from Diamond.
Yeah.
So that's why I was terminated from Legacy, because the books were not picked up by Diamond. Legacy could not fund these books anymore because Legacy couldn't make any money off of the books. So that's why I was terminated. And I was asked, do you have any ideas of what we can do? You know, since the books aren't getting into Diamond. And I have loads of ideas. And I actually laid out a very detailed plan of what we need to do what we should do as a comic publisher in the indie scene. But it was like a year and a half, 2-year plan. What I remember from submitting to Diamond is Diamond doesn't want you to submit a book to them unless you have 3 to 4 copies of that book already done. Mm-hmm. That's what I remember from the submission process. Because there's so many indies that just do one book and then you don't ever see them again. Yeah. So my plan was, all right, we need to stick to a schedule and we need to actually adhere to it and do it if we're going to do it. So instead of saying our books are coming out every other month and for a year we have not come out with any books, we set a schedule of the books coming out every quarter. Every quarter we make the books come out. Do a small print run. Don't go to a big house printer. I love that printer that we were printing at. They were fantastic. They were wonderful to us. Mm-hmm. Their print quality was amazing. But do smaller print runs. Try a local printer that is just as good as that big house printer. Right. So we can just print what we need and not have to have stringent, large numbers of books just sitting there. Because there are large numbers of print runs that it's just sitting there. Go to shows. We need to make sure we go to way more shows. Even if we have to split up the teams and people find their own way there, we need to be at the shows. All our books, all our number one issues, you know what you need to do? You need to wrap that up into a graphic novel of its own. That's 7 number one issues and call that one-shots. Put that out. Legacy one-shots. Now, guess what? Besides the Hotshot trade that we've done, now we have 2 trades. We submit those to Barnes & Noble. Don't Barnes & Noble want graphic novels? Then we go to Barnes & Noble's and we do book signings at Barnes & Noble's. We talk to all the comic book shops. And we ask them, we say, how can we set up a weekly book signing with different artists inside of your shops across the community on Comic Book Wednesday? So we strengthen our fan base and move and build on our fan base in the Columbus, Ohio area. And then we start doing that in other comic shops in other cities around. Dayton, Springfield, and things like that. Get known in this circuit here. Build that up. Show them. And every time we're doing these book signings, we have every 3 months, we're having a book come out. We're pushing a book. Then we set up our own events. I have a very good relationship with GameStop. GameStop loves it when I come out there with the team that I work with, who helps me put on a great midnight release party for them. We do midnight releases at GameStop promoting the books, hosted and done by Legacy Rising. Reach out to our friends in the indie community that want to work with us, and we promote them as well. We get together our own Diamond Previews book of our comic books, and we start sending it off to comic book shops. Matter of fact, what we need to do, because Legacy also has an internship class that I designed, that I run every week, that I'm in charge of. 5 students from CCAD, 1 from New York. I had 1 in Cincinnati, but she couldn't do it anymore because her schedule was changing for school. And 2 high school interns from Fort Hays. So along with doing all the comic book work that I'm doing for Legacy, plus my freelance, I'm running their internship class, which is managing and doing the webcomics that come out every week. So then we have the interns set up a schedule daily where interns will call 2 to 3 comic book shops a day, because they have shifts, they have hours that they have to work. So when they shift come in, the first thing they do is they find 2 or 3 comic book shops, they call them, get their email, and send them the digital PDF that's previews of our books with an order list and a link to go here and order the books. Then they would follow up with that shop the next week on the same day of their shift, and we consistently do this stuff. Then also set up a schedule for the interns to send out books to be reviewed. Get a hold of Bleeding Cool, get a hold of Afropunk, get a hold of Comic Book Related, and all these other different websites, and constantly hit them up once a week. Hey, we have these books reviews. Here's the PDFs. We want you to review our books. Follow up. Have you reviewed the books yet? Have you reviewed the books yet? And get that done. Start spreading our names, spreading our words, slowly build it up. Go to shows. When we go to these comic book conventions, we cannot just go to comic book conventions and sit out there with a table full of books. We have to bring people over to our table. And we need not to be in... We need to be in Artist Alley. We need to be in Artist Alley, and we need to take up more than one table. We need to kind of like own the alleyway. If it's 2 to 3 tables where it looks like it's Legacy Rising, then we need to own that aisle. And we need to go to these comic book shows, and we need to put on... We have to entertain these people. We have to bring these people over to our table and make them remember us. Not just for the books, but remember the brand. And that brings up a very good point about the brand. Everyone at Legacy Rising that works for Legacy Rising, putting out the book for Legacy Rising, needs to promote the brand. First and foremost, because the brand, if that succeeds, all the rest of the books are going to succeed. If we're putting that ship up first, and we're saying, "Hey, I'm Mike Watson from Legacy Rising Publications. We have 7 new books that we're working on right now. Mine personally are these books. These are the books I'm working on. Whatever." I'm not saying that if you go to a comic book show by yourself promoting your one book that you talk about all the other books. But the first thing out your damn mouth needs to be the name of the company that paid for your book, that paid for your banner, that paid for you to get to the show, that pays for you to eat at the damn convention. Because you wouldn't be doing any of that if it wasn't for that brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no point, and there's no benefit to not promoting the person who promotes you.
I think you need to also get in touch with local cosplayers and get them to cosplay your characters.
I didn't get to bring that up because there was just so much stuff that we're doing.
But that was to me, I was like, that then brings in the local cosplay people, and then that's a whole new circuit to also bring in.
Yeah, I was talking to 5 cosplayers to do a Hotshot, Ironsmith, one of your character, Marky from Emerald Quest.
Nice.
I was already doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
I set up a communication group on Facebook that was a Legacy team page where everyone communicate. I set up a system so the writers and the artists would be able to get a hold of the interns to set up the social promo schedule for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I designed it. Yeah. I designed the schedule, the timeline. Me and the interns made up the templates. I approved those templates. I gave them ideas for templates. I made templates for them. So pretty much, with excluding the content that was put in Legend of Azure, that baby book, and Night and Day, excluding that content, pretty much anything that you saw from Legacy Rising, I created. I made, or I approved, or I designed, or I gave the okay, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. Their schedule, I did that. The promotions for all of Columbus Wizard World, when we sold over 500 books, those were my flyers. Those advertisements in those books, mine. That logo that is on there, that they're just championing around, that I didn't charge for, I made that. The logo on the book, I made that. The layout for the book, I made that. The damn template that goes to the printer for when we have to cut and slice and trim down the book, I made that. And Danny corrected it on me. So, I did a lot for him, and I didn't do it because I wanted praise. I did it because no one else was doing it, or no one knew how to do it, and it wasn't being done.
If you want the team to win, you got to do it as a team. You can't have the the one person that's like, you all got to chip in, and you all got to rep the team. You
have to rep the team.
Yeah. So
you can't succeed like that. But the most important thing that makes an indie succeed is coming out with books.
Yes.
I don't know why you would have the years of experience in the indie market that we had at Legacy Rising, and why you just refuse to listen to any of them. The biggest thing that made Victor and I successful, and people know who we were, was when we came out with Hotshot, and by the time we got to space, Hotshot 2 was out. That was literally like 2 months later. Yeah. Then we were at another show, and we had Hotshot 3. And we were selling in 3 books. Then we went to another show, and it must have been 2 months later, and we had Hotshot 0. And people were like, you're doing a full color indie superhero book, and you're coming out with new content every time we see you at a different show.
Yeah.
That is the most simple. That's the simplest thing that you can do that people will start to follow you.
It's true. Because when we go to like a lot of stuff and we see a lot of these creators, it's over the years, it's the same one issue book that I'm seeing that they're like trying to sell. And I'm like, I like it, but where's it going? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Is like people want to see that what they're buying is going to go somewhere. Because there's nothing I hate more than buying a comic and then it just falling dead. Like, I hate when the big companies cancel my comics and shit. Like, dude, I invested in 15 issues of comic that you just shit on. And it's like, in this market, people want to know that if they're going to invest time and money in these things, that they're going to go somewhere. So when you're just like, hey, I still have this same issue.
Because we all see it when we go to cons. The same guy sitting at the same table with the same comic that you've seen at 50 other cons.
Not even a fresh new take, but it's like...
And you've heard his spiel already, and you may have even bought it already. Yeah. Didn't you, when we were at Space, didn't you have a guy... No, it wasn't even Space, was it? You had a guy come up to you, hey, like, I've been looking for a year for the next issue of these things. Isn't that true?
He came up to me at Wizard World Cleveland.
Wizard World Cleveland, that's what it was.
Found me and saw the table, looked at I had all the books, and was like, oh my goodness, dude, where are the new ones? I've been looking for these for like since May when I got all of them. And I'm like, wow, it's March 2017. I don't have them. They were supposed to be printed in January, so you can go talk to the heads at Legacy on where those are at. Yeah. I think it's really...
But that just goes to prove you've got people out there that read these books and want more of these books, but you're not
for a year. Yeah, for a year, a person's been looking for an indie book for the new issue of it.
So what you're saying is you don't want this person's money.
Yeah. Like,
you don't want the money of this person who wants your fucking comic.
I've seen somebody that's so hard that's like, oh, money? Go fuck yourself.
Like, this dude said he gets his books up at Pack Rat, and so he goes and picks up his pull once a month. Every month that he's gone up to Pack Rat, he's asked about where the Legacy books are. Mm-hmm. Where's Heroes International? Where's Vigilance? Hotshot, I'm looking for, because he bought them all. Yeah. And he wants them. There was this one lady at our Wizard World Columbus launch in July. She bought Heroes International, and she really dug it. And she follows us on her Facebook page. And then in May, it couldn't have been May. Am I getting my months wrong? Whatever. It was like a couple months later when I was at Pack Rat, because we launched in July. Oh, Pack Rat did their own event. It wasn't Free Comic Book Day. Pack Rat did their own event. So, and then...
Probably not at Comic-Con.
Not at Comic-Con.
Yeah, so when I was up there for that, she came up there and she said, I loved Heroes International so much, she bought all the books. She came back and bought all the Legacy books.
Damn.
Then, when I got the go-ahead, because I did get the go-ahead from the ones in charge at Legacy Rising, that we were going to put the books out in January, have them ready, because they'll be released in January, and I'm promoting the number 2 issues, which are all done, by the way, which have been done, just done, finished,
done, getting dust on them, like
getting dust on them. That she had met, like, and I promoted that they're at these stores, and we'll be having them come out on this date, and she was like, "Are all of them coming out?" And I was like, "Yes, all of them are coming out. We have our deadline. The books will be distributed on such and such date. We don't have a confirmed date, but it is this month." Then Emerald Quest, my artist for Emerald Quest. Oh wait, let me finish one story. There's so much stuff. So she wanted the books, and then when the books weren't coming out, when I was told, well, I'm not going to print the books. That's what he said. He said, after he listened to my whole spiel about what we should do, and this is how it should work, and this is what we should do, so we can, in a year and a half, 2 years, we can go resubmit to Diamond. Actually, Diamond will know who we are, because I'm like, look at those dudes. They've been putting out, they got like 12 new books out over the last 2 years. They've been showing up at these shows and these events. So I had to tell her, yeah, the books aren't coming out.
Oh.
She's been waiting for these books and she wants them, and I had to tell her, yeah, they're not coming out.
That's as a fan hearing that's a gut check moment. Like, I remember when, like, Frankenstein, DC did Frankenstein. I love that book, and then when they said it was one of the ones that got canceled, man, that's just
Same thing with Mr. Terrific when they did
Mr.
the Mr. Terrific reboot.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was like, you only really attach to like so many comics, and when you find the ones that really get you so invested, and then you hear that, it's like, it is one of those moments where it's like, it's brutal.
That's the thing. Well, there's several things that upset me about the situation, but the thing that makes me so angry is that Danny Cooper, he's like my brother. I mean, he's not like, he is my brother. And I respect his opinion, along with Victor Dandridge and Ren McKenzie. And I love, getting feedback, and I will listen to people that have value, that I feel are credited. Like you guys read comic books, you read comic books. Did I just say that twice? You talk about comic books.
You talk about it. We read comic books. Yeah.
You're on the.
We read that many comic books. Yeah,
we do. We read a lot of comic books.
Yeah, we do.
You're in the indie scene. You're in the community. You know comic books. So if you guys suggest something to me, or you say there's something you didn't like about something, I take your opinion at value because I know you have experience in it. Danny and Ren and Victor and I have been friends since 2000.
Yeah.
Like the year 2000.
It feels weird to say it like
Yeah,
that,
it does.
doesn't it now? You're like, damn it, we're doing that now? Or, shit, it's been almost 18 years. Damn it.
So, and we have been through arguments, disagreements. We've gone days without talking to each other.
Like, hold my shit, we're about to go out in the parking lot.
Victor and I have almost come to fists over Hotshot.
I can believe
over a plot point in Hotshot, and Danny had to get in between us and break us up. And I've been working on comics with these guys from that point on. So there is no, ass kissing or, I'm just trying to stroke your ego or anything like that. I don't even get from Danny, Victor, and Ren what I like about whatever I do. They immediately go for what they don't like.
Yeah.
there are no compliments in our group. It's just
give you the good or give you the bad. They just is like immediately like, here's what needs to be worked on.
Right. And me and Danny have gotten into several, back and forth where I don't like what Danny has to say. And it gets to the point like, all right, well, I'm going to get off the phone now. Like, and I have to get off the phone and, like, I marinate on it for a day and come back and then, like, all right, so we have, like, our third meeting on subject A. And I'm like, I see what you're saying. I just didn't want to hear the shit because I've been working on that for the last week, hour upon hour working on it.
I've been pouring into it, and then immediately the first thing I hear is, like, no, this is what's wrong with it. You're like, that's my baby. And you just shit on my baby. Like,
exactly. But
yeah.
Speaking of who's watching, Danny is actually watching us right now on Facebook Live.
But he gets to do that because I trust him.
Yeah.
He's accredited. Several things that he's done and suggested and that we've talked about work. And I know he reads comic books. Mm-hmm. He dissects comic books. And he's dissected what I've done as an artist, as a creator, as a writer. And he's made me better, along with Vic and Ren. So when I get somebody that tries to tell me how something should be as my editor, and you haven't read a comic book in 10 years, you don't get to do that.
Yeah,
if you haven't read a book in 10 years, you don't know what I'm trying to do.
That's like a tech guy trying to tell you about technology and he hasn't picked up something in the past 5 years. You're so outdated on what's been going on. Both story, plot construction, all kinds of stuff. Because, the industry has changed so much. Yeah. And everybody's like, but it's comics. It's always the same. I'm like, same basic premise is.
Absolutely not. The comics are not the same.
But the game is always changing as far as, new people, new artist techniques, new story technique, new panel designs, everything. It's so different.
Exactly. So I've got this trust fund with them, and there's other people that I trust, that I'll hear that from. But at a certain point on a creator-owned project, when you don't have the experience in what, if you have the experience in what I'm trying to do, then yes, you can coach me, you can question me, and tell me these type of things. I am not against, saying okay, I need to change this, I need to switch it up. I'm not against someone telling me that this is wrong. But you have to have some experience behind it. Not just because you feel like you're older than me and you've lived your life longer. But technically, if we really want to look at things, I'm more experienced than you in comic books.
Yeah.
So I'm older than you in this regard.
Yeah, older guy in life, sure, give me life advice. Don't give me comic book creation advice when you've not really ever stepped into that realm. It's like, okay, now you're just that guy who's like, I'm going to send you advice from the back seat, you know?
Right.
Yeah, nobody really has any business commenting on something when it comes to, like, hey, you should do it this way. Like, Dave and I, we review comics, but we respect the medium, and we have been involved in the industry ourselves for several years now.
And that's the thing. Like, when I know personally, when I ever give, like, critiques or criticism on comics and stuff, I've never created a comic. I don't know the ins and the outs of it to the point that I'm like, let's... shit on them and stuff. I'm going to be like, most likely, I'm going to be like, this is what I liked. This necessarily probably didn't appeal to me as much, but this is all the stuff that I liked. And I can't say I would have done this differently. I would have been like, I thought the story might have gone here, but it's all from a reader's perspective. As the creator, I have little to no experience on what you're going through making the book, how the story in your head has to flow and everything. So it's like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you did it wrong. You should do it like this, and just start hammering out all these, like, kind of, things.
Yeah, but it's not like, and again, I'm not against feedback. I'm not against critique. Yeah. I've gone to a school where a teacher told me my perspective drawing looked like a crapola sandwich. So I'm not against it. It's just... Yeah. You're going to have a harder chance at swaying me or getting me to your side, especially when you talk to me like a dick.
Yeah. That is, like, you could be coming at me with, like, advice that I need to take, and it's good for me. But if you come at me with the wrong approach, I'm going to be like...
Right. And, again, that's what... Coop understands that. So, here's the thing. There's somebody that's supposed to edit my books. And they did the edits on Vigilance. And I took them at face value. I was very open with it. And I was very open to change.
Dana made a comment. Dana said that dude Mike is talking about can keep his life in comic book advice. So that guy you're talking about can keep his life in comic book advice. I agree, Danny.
That's fair.
I agree.
That's fair.
So he read Vigilance. And this is how he actually got the editing job over all three books at the time. Yeah. And he made some very good points about Vigilance that was wrong with the book.
Yeah.
Language we were using military-wise, pacing that we were doing. We had a lot of dialogue in there. And that's not a knock against Micah Cox, because he wrote the book. Yeah. But that was the first comic book Mike
is incredibly talented.
He is. And he comes from a world of writing novels.
Yeah.
So that's what he's used to adding.
Just
writing and stuff.
All words,
And... I give him nothing but praise for being able to handle and deal with it, because we really chopped that book up.
Yeah.
But it needed it. Mm-hmm. It needed to happen. And, I'll call him Editor A, added value to that book, which made me respect him. And he was straight up with it. So I was like, that's cool. Now, Editor A ended up fucking over one of my friends. And I was very honest with him, and I told him that was fucked up. And you were wrong. But I am still professional enough to where I can work with you. But I'm not going to sit here and not tell you how I feel about what you did to my friend. So I thought that was cool. I'm thinking, be honest, tell people what you think, be professional, you'll be able to work. So I guess I just was an idiot in that situation. But
some people can take it, some people can't.
Some people can't.
Yeah.
Editor A has done more and more things throughout the career of working with him that just made me think he's fucking disgusting in how he operates and how he functions. Yeah. And I say that as in he just doesn't know how to work in a team environment.
Right.
And it pisses me off.
Criticism has to come with respect. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It has to come with a not a light touch necessarily, but a full respect and like broad understanding of how much effort it took for a person to do this thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To produce this thing.
You can't just come in there and like take everybody's hard work and just...
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not even that. He, like I said, he had valuable input when it came to editing the book. That other is somebody else.
Oh.
But this is... and that's why I wanted him on the books.
Yeah.
And there was good work there. But the relationship soured.
Okay. When people started being a little immature about things and started...
Let's just say people being selfish.
Yeah.
In how to function under one banner. And I'm not that type of creator. And you guys know me. You've been to my tables. You've seen me talk to customers.
Mm-hmm. I've seen you sell just as much for books that you weren't as heavily involved in as the ones that you bled for.
Exactly.
You sold the entire gambit of the table. Like, I can sell you a book. What do you want? What do you like?
I knew about everybody's books.
Yep.
I knew the plot points, and I could talk up everyone's books at the table, and that was my thing. When we're at comic book conventions, we're united front. We throw everyone's stuff out there, or we lay back and we see which book the customer gravitates to, and we talk to them there. But the long and short, the relationship soured, and he wasn't editor over the 3 Hotshotverse books anymore.
Yeah.
But I said,
if you want to see more about this, tune in to next week's show.
I still wanted him to be editor over Emerald Quest.
Yeah.
Because I believe there is value in what he had there and what he does.
Yeah.
Little known to me, he was going to finish out the number 2 issues, the edits on that. I was like, that's fine. Danny was going to take over with the 3rd issues.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wanted Danny to letter the books is because Danny always catches something that I always miss. He always does. And he does it because he wants it to be the best
last line
product.
of defense. He's like, yeah, he got that.
He's my lifeguard.
Yeah.
So if it comes to him and he sees it, it's an issue.
Yeah.
So Danny's supposed to take over for the 3rd issues. Edits. So he's going to be editing Hotshot, Vigilance, and Heroes International. Editor A finishes up his edits on issues 2, and he signs off on them, saying they're good to go. Well, I'm looking at the scripts, because we have everything up on a Google Drive. So we can see when people are making comments and everything, and I'm looking up on there, and I'm like, there's not a whole lot of edits on here. Like, there's like 3 edits, and they're like super minor. They're like grammatical edits.
Yeah.
Like, this is just grammar stuff. What about like actually like the story pacing and where the characters are? Like, there's no mistakes or anything like that. So we've been working on these books, and editor A just kind of disappears after signs off on them, everything's done, and Danny's doing letters on these books, and he's looking at them, and he's reading them. He's like, Mike, there's a lot of issues with these books. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I think me and Danny were just talking and looking at the books, and he was just pointing out all this stuff to me, and I'm like, that's fucked up.
You were going to let these books crash and burn.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I explained to the owner of Legacy, and I said, I clearly let him know Danny's editing the number 2 issues. There's a lot of issues with these books. We've kind of had to redo all the dialogue pretty much for Heroes International 2. We had to do a complete reorder of pages on Vigilance. Hotshot's got some pacing things that we're able to work out, but I have to do a whole new issue of Hotshot after this. So Carrie Kelly has written 7, 8, and Volume 2, Number 1.
Yeah.
Volume 2, Number 2.
Yeah.
And Volume 2, Number 3. 4 and 5.
7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
So Carrie's already written all these.
Yeah.
He's written like 6 books. So one of the things that I dropped the ball on was in Hotshot was connecting the new issues to the old issues.
Yeah.
Like, I just moved on, like, alright, well, they got the 6 issues, they know what's going on or whatnot. But there are things that needed to be addressed from those 6 issues, minor things, but still part of the story
Yeah.
that weren't
Enough that
addressed.
people are like, hey, now. Yeah.
Enough for when Victor read it, like, you missed like 5 things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm getting a call from Victor, he's like, so you telling me you don't love me no more? I'm like, what are you talking about, Vic? He was like, you just don't love me no more? You're just going to forget about all those plot points I left for you?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I did all this work, man. I put in the ground game for you, and you're just sitting here like...
Right, and so I'm like...
I don't care about Victor Dandridge's work. That guy.
So I'm sitting here like, oh shit. And like when Victor, like I'm going through the book with him, I'm like, fuck, alright. He's right. So instead of, because Carrie spent all this time writing these new issues, I'm like, Carrie, I'm going to write the next issue of Hotshot. We're going to push your 3rd issue back one. I have to connect these dots and connect these strings. Fix what we could dialogue wise, me, Carrie, and Danny in the number 2 issue of Hotshot. But then I wrote the whole 9th issue because I didn't want to make Carrie or ask Carrie to do more work because it was my fault that I didn't address it in the first 2 scripts.
Yeah.
Those are my books.
Mm-hmm.
I should have been aware enough to catch that and say, Carrie, no, we got to take that out. We got to put this in. But I didn't, so I'm not going to make Carrie do it. Mm-hmm. I did it. So Hotshot's taken care of. Wrote the 9th issue. Good to go. Heroes International had issues as far as little tweaks with what was happening with the art versus what was in the script. So that called for all of us being on Skype. Quinn, Luke, me, and Danny. Back and forth for like 4 weeks. Trying to get this stuff right. Quinn would have to redraw some stuff. I'd have to give Veronica on there to color do some color edits on it. I did some Photoshop edits on the books because I knew Quinn was redrawing stuff. I'm like, I'm not about to just let Quinn do all the work. Again, they're my books. I'm the creative editor. I drop the ball and not catching the stuff. Yeah. I'm going to throw my hands in and help.
It's a team thing. Team effort. We're all going to have to pitch in to get it done. Yeah.
Danny making letter changes and edit changes and ideas, coming up with stuff. And the shit Danny came up with for Heroes International 2. And like, Luke, me, and Danny butted heads a lot on that. And it's not to say that it was like arguments, we just butted heads. Luke has spent so much time writing that book. That's his baby.
Yeah.
So I understand when we're saying, all right, we got to cut this loop, but we got to add this loop. What does this mean? Da-da-da. I understand the frustration and I get it. So I'm not upset with Luke, but we're butting heads on exchanges on ideas and things like that. And same thing, Luke is getting upset with us because of what we're saying or what Danny's saying or what I'm saying. So it was just like, boom, boom, back and forth, back and forth. But at the end of the day, we're still trying to work to make the book better. Yeah. That's the only thing that matters.
You guys can butt heads, but at the end of the game, that's what it is.
Yeah, like, that book represents all of us. Yeah. So we're working, and we finally get Heroes good. We're like, all right, that works. It sings. Some of the best lettering work Danny has ever fucking done on a book. And Luke, with his add-ons, the way... See, and this is what I like about Luke. You give Luke a problem, and it takes him a second to digest it, but then he kicks it back out. And I wanted Luke to be involved in that because I didn't want to change Luke's voice.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have just said, all right, Luke, don't worry, me and Danny will fix all of it, and, we'll just make it look, but then we're going to lose Luke's voice.
And he doesn't learn anything, too. It's all learning.
Right. But we're all learning from it.
Yeah.
I'm learning from Danny, Luke is learning from us, and vice versa. Danny's learning from how to do this editing thing. Yeah. So, we get Heroes International. It's good. Yeah. Fucking Heroes International was 15 times better than the first issue. I promise you. So, then we get to Vigilance. Vigilance was the book that didn't need a whole lot of work, but it was a pacing issue.
Yeah.
So, Danny hits me up one night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Danny hits me up through Facebook Messenger. He's like, I got it. I know what we can do to fix Vigilance. Basically, he took the first 7 pages, which are exposition, and broke them up amongst the entire book.
The entire thing, yeah.
So now it's more, instead of exposition, it is the main villain monologuing about like her history. And
okay, yeah.
So we've broken it up.
Yeah,
like
that does work a lot better than just like, hold on, I gotta hurry up and read this like prologue so I can get to the actual story. Yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue change, and then we've gotten reviews for Vigilance, got a lot of feedback on Vigilance. So in regards of trying to filter out what was good and what we liked and what we didn't like, that took a little bit of time. But then we got Vigilance out, and I would say this one Nerdsoul, he's a very busy dude. I got him to review Vigilance #1. It took a while because he was reviewing a lot of books. He reviews all types of stuff, and he finally got that review for Vigilance up. He dug it. And I know I would have to. I check in. I check in with everybody. Yeah. I'm gonna make sure you're not gonna forget about Mike Watson.
Like, God damn it, it's that Watson guy again. He won't stop calling me.
I absolutely appreciate him and love him for what he did and his patience with me, because I know he was tired of getting it from me. He was like, dude, I told you I got stuff to do. I got other stuff before you. I ain't forgot about you.
Yeah.
But he put out the review. He really dug it. Now, to his credit, once he posted that review, I was like, oh, okay, guess what else I got for you? And he's like, what? #2. Sent it right to him.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing about it because I appreciate him getting that out, and I knew he was slammed with work, and I was like, I'm not going to bother him. He liked Vigilance. There's so many. The books are so different now. I want to see what he says. I'm just going to leave him be. I'm just going to, because he put in work for me and got that done. So I appreciate it.
Like,
Thank you, Nurso.
Like, I harangued you enough. I'll let you off for reading 2. Yeah.
And so, I didn't send any, I didn't do any Facebook messages to say, hey, what's up? How's the review coming or anything like that? Or in less than a week, he had a review for Vigilance #2 up.
Wow.
Less than a week. All right, I'm bullshitting. It was probably a week, maybe 2 weeks. But it was super, super quick.
But the way your time scale works, it's like...
Yeah. In Watson time.
Less than a week. It was a minute later.
Yeah.
3 minutes later.
But he put up the review, and everything he said about the first review, he was like, man, if you guys had questions about the first issue, they lead you right into the second issue and answer all of them.
Yeah.
The messed up thing is that you're left with more questions.
Mm-hmm.
The cliffhanger is ridiculous. Everything that I wondered about the first issue and how they laid it out is just laid out in the second issue. It's just fed to you the way it's supposed to be. So there was a transition of how this story is supposed to work. And I was like, me and Danny just at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Colin was like, boom!
We did it!
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how it's done. That's a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
So I go through this an Emerald Quest. Again, Danny's not the editor on Emerald Quest.
Yeah.
But he's still the editor that helped me fix Emerald Quest number 2.
Yeah.
Because
Editor,
it's important.
Yeah.
So, again, I go through this long-winded story to explain to you how hard my teams worked, how proud I am of them, and how much I love them for the effort that they put into these titles.
Yeah.
And Danny needs to be acknowledged for what he did on those books, because those books wouldn't be what they are without him being an editor. And I made Mr. Sims perfectly aware that Editor A didn't do anything on those books. He didn't edit those books. Those books were not edited. An editor does not just do grammar checks. It's more than that. And we have told him what an editor's position is supposed to be and what it's supposed to do, what you're supposed to do. So he knows, because he has an email that was sent to him saying, hey, I'm catching all these things that Editor A is missing. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but I'm the letterer, and I shouldn't be catching these things. We need to do, the editor has a whole job to do, so I don't know if he's aware that is a full job.
An editor helps to shape the story.
Yeah.
Helps to be like, because when you're a writer, you're almost too close to it to be like, oh, I need to take this out, I need to take that out. No, because like to you, it's like, oh, this is fucking, I'm dropping science here. Like, this is my awesome flow. And then that editor has to look at it and be like, yeah, okay, this is good, but it's really fucking dragging right here, so let's take this piece out, you know?
Right. So
kind of put the things into focus.
Focus and make it a cohesive story.
So I say for the umpteenth time, Legacy was very much so aware that Danny was editing on those second books, on those number 2 books. And they are refusing to pay him for his editorial work on those books. And it was asked me, why is Danny charging me for editorial work on number 2s? And I looked at him and I said, because Danny did the editorial work. You know, you complained about how we missed commas or quotation marks in the books. You held Danny and I responsible for that. But you're not going to pay him for the editorial work?
Yeah.
You're going to say, well, he didn't have a contract for that. But he did it because your guy didn't do it. So it was brought up because there was somebody else there, and they made it aware, and it was like, well, did you pay Editor A for edits? And so this is when I found out Editor A was doing the edits on my books for free. So I want to point this out. If you are fully aware that Editor A and I don't have a good relationship, we don't like one another, and he's editing my books for free, plus he has his own comic book through your label that he's trying to put out, and he has selfish tendencies that I told you about. Do you really think he's going to do the job you asked him to do?
Yeah.
You think he's going to help me succeed over him?
Absolutely not.
For free?
Yeah. Like, even if he was not, like, even if that relationship wasn't, like, soured for free, like, really? That guy's gonna put only a moniker of the work in for free. Like, people are good.
People are good.
But to a point.
To a point.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of free work for you, and I wish I didn't do it now.
Yeah.
I tried to do it for the greater good, and you saw me doing all that work. But you expected this dude, who has a comic book with you, to do work for me for free and make my books as good as his? You really thought that was dumb business if you thought that was really going to happen. And I'm not saying I'm clean in the whole situation, because I was dumb as fuck for doing everything that I did for them and not asking for any payments and trusting someone and and really thinking like, oh, this can't fail. I had little day glow eyes and twinkling in my eye, and just was like,
man, there's a difference between being dumb and being optimistic and wanting something to succeed and pouring your heart into it. That's not dumb. That's realizing that something can be bigger than you.
And that's kind of the difference of like big, comics versus indie comics and stuff. Indie comics, you kind of have to go out on that limb, with people, is because this is your hopes and your dreams and stuff like that, and then especially when you're putting a team together and stuff, this is their hopes and their dreams together, so you're all kind of going out on a limb. Like, we assume you're not from the get-go out to screw us. Like, you're in this just as much as we are, so it's like you're doing everything you can to make these things succeed. It's
and it instantly pissed me off so much when he was just refusing to acknowledge the work that he did. Like, so you can hold Danny and I responsible for the mistakes that are in the book, but where was your boy at to read through those books the final time to edit them?
Yeah.
Once all the work was done, where was he at? Nowhere.
Yeah. If he was responsible for the mistakes, then he's responsible for the good things, which means you got to pay the guy. That's the thing. You can't hold him accountable for the bad and not reward him for the good. That's just bullshit.
I am in constant, whenever I go to the shop, because that was my comic book shop that I went to too, so I would give him updates. Let him know, yeah, me and Danny had a meeting with Luke, went longer than we wanted it to. There's a lot of back and forth. He would get the updates from me, from mouth to mouth, so he knew Danny was doing it.
Yeah,
and I would have never thought that Danny would have charged me for that.
Why wouldn't you charge someone for doing a job?
Right, but not once.
This isn't Star Trek. We don't all just live for the fucking betterment of mankind here. We need to work and be paid for said work. I don't go to my job, put on a fucking shit. Yeah, I don't go to my job, put on a headset, and talk to idiots all night, and then expect not to get a fucking paycheck for it.
Right. It's like his whole atmosphere and attitude changed with that, and I just get the feeling that he's not a big fan of Danny, because Danny doesn't hold his fucking tongue. He's going to tell you what it is and how it is, and I don't know how you don't respect somebody like that. I just don't understand how that can make you mad. You want to walk around on tiptoe on glasses and shit because he's telling you your boy ain't doing his job. I'm doing his job for him, and that's not what I'm getting paid for at this point on these books. But your whole thing that you keep telling us is put out the best books that we possibly can put out. So you've delayed these books month after month after month. And we see that there's issues with the books, and we take the opportunity to fix them. I rewrite a whole new issue to fix the plot lines. I push back my writer's other book so this one can go in here to fix it. I got people staying up and working more hours to get this rectified, because this is a presentation of not only them, but the brand. And the shining point at the end of the tunnel is that when people compare this with the number one issues, they're going to be like, wow, this is ridiculously good. This is so much better. I enjoyed the first issues. There's a lot of people that did enjoy those first issues, but they're going to love these second issues because they're phenomenal. And that's not me being cocky. That is my teams doing their damn job like they were supposed to. And so, basically, I was told the books aren't going to go to print because he can't make money off of them or whatnot. And it's messed up because
even though they are the ones that are the biggest sellers, at his
label. So, not to mention that they are the most diverse books with the most diversified characters in the books, and put together by the most diverse roster of creators at his publisher that he all fired. Yeah. I got into not an argument, but a discussion about diversity in comic books and how Marvel was saying that, well, according to our numbers, people don't want female leads and they don't want diverse characters. No, they do, because according to my numbers, they do.
I recently just read an article about this where Marvel talked about this, where their lowest numbers are when they came out with their diverse characters. And what people said was it was not the diversity that they didn't like, it was the fact that they didn't create original diverse characters. It was they were taking mainstay characters that everybody loved and just being like, new packaging, this is what we're doing.
Right.
Thor's a woman, Iron Man's a woman, this person's gay now, this person's black now, this and stuff like that. And they're like, why can't you create a character that's all those things without having to be this character? Like, why can't you create something strong enough to stand on its own feet? You know,
and that's why people came to our table when they saw Vigilance, when they saw Hotshot. Then they saw the whole roster of Heroes International characters. They saw it was like they would stop in their tracks and come back like, "Oh, for real? That's what we doing here."
To me, to even like say that about Vigilance is mind-boggling, because like when you look at like the gambit of comics and stuff like that, as far as characters of color, female lead characters, Vigilance is probably one of the strongest that's on the market. Because you look at, like, when you think of Marvel and you think of DC and Image and stuff like that, how many can you really name that have their own comic and stuff? Do you see Storm with her own comic?
She gets them, but they always cancel them.
Yeah. Like, they've got Wonder Woman. Does Vixen have one?
Nope.
Like, you look at all these characters and stuff, and they talk about, you know, the diversity and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, but you're sticking them in group books.
Yep.
And they're getting shuffled in, and they're like, oh, hey, we introduced this new character, but we really, like, turned it around and stuff.
Yeah, no, you can't be, like, affirmative actioning your team. You need to actually give a shit about diversity.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like, as much as I don't like Tony Stark, Iron Man, when you say Iron Man to me, it's Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I've got nothing against the new character that they're doing and stuff. I just wish she would have been her own genuine character and stuff like that. Like Rhodey was War Machine.
Yeah.
People may love him, people may hate him, but he was not Iron Man. He was War Machine. And in the beginning, people were like, "Oh, he's kind of like."
I just don't like Don Cheadle.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like some people were like, "Oh, well, he was just like Iron Man." Yeah, in the beginning, he may have been kind of like, you know, a secondary Iron Man, but believe me, you got the best writer and the best artist with him. He became his own character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, and they showed it in, like, you know, in things. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you could make these characters their own and have the balls to, you know, put them in the forefront, you know, on their own and see what they can do and if the fan base will really take them. But they don't. They play like, I'm just going to stick my toe in the water and see how it goes. And I'm like, how are you really going to tell when you're A, either shoving them in a group book, or B, just repackaging a known character, which upsets comic book fans.
Mm-hmm. The distinct lack of balls. And this is the problem, what I've always had with the mainstream, is they have a distinct lack of balls. And I love about indie that indie comics writers and publishers don't generally give a shit. They'll put out what they want to put out no matter what.
Yeah.
But doing something like taking this incredibly diverse line of characters and then the one book you retain is a white character written by a white guy, like, this says something to me. I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying this says something to me.
For me, I'm not even going to say it's like character or creator and stuff. I'm just going to look at the property as it is. This is what you wanted to keep? Like, this is what you think has the strongest chance in the market?
And in all honesty, Hotshot's only the number one selling book by default because I have so many issues of it. So it wins as a number game. But
Vigilance has one issue.
But Vigilance has one issue.
Yeah.
If you take Hotshot's, if you take the same amount of time that Vigilance has been out versus Hotshot, the number one issue, Vigilance outsells it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So technically speaking, Vigilance is the number one selling new title.
Yeah.
I would be very curious to see what the sales numbers are on this other book that was retained, because this is just my personal opinion. I wouldn't pay a nickel for that book. Personally. Because I couldn't give two shits and a fuck about an infant in a fucking harness doing kung fu.
I mean, but that just goes to show
just me
you,
personally. That's my personal opinion.
You look at the numbers with Vigilance and stuff. It goes against what the big companies are saying. It goes against what Diamond is saying and stuff. Mm-hmm. It goes against, like, everything that, from a corporate standpoint, is saying. The fans are telling you, this is what we want. So, and this is why it's doing well.
How would that look a year later? You've got 7 issues of Vigilance out and our sales number and going to events. I have someone that already has the costume that dresses up as Vigilance.
Yeah.
Start getting that person to come to events with us. And how does that look a year later when they say, oh, we don't want diversity? Oh, well, we here at Legacy Rising disagree. Our number one selling book is a black female superhero.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. want to talk about Diamond for a second because I have a little bit of insight on Diamond. No, really,
Diamond is its own.
Yeah, well, no, I did an interview
entity.
about last year. I did an interview with a guy named King Chan who's trying to do his own distribution network for comics, and I got a really interesting view on the process of submitting a book to Diamond. And submitting a book to Diamond, to me, and from what the information I've gotten from a lot of our friends who have actually submitted books, is much less about the book itself and more about how much you're willing to pay to get it in there and who reads that book. Because they only have a certain number of people that read these books to get them in there. And it could just be, this guy doesn't like this kind of book. And that's the entire decision-making process. From what he said in the interview, and I have to go back to it, but from what he said in the interview, there's basically 4 guys who read comics, and they all decide whether the comic's getting in or not. And it's not like they pass it around between 4 guys. It's one guy reads it and says, nah, no. Or, yeah, why not? Mm-hmm. You can't base your entire business strategy on getting into one thing, in my opinion.
No, you can't.
And that was my question I wanted to ask. Was like, was this from the get-go the plan? Like, as far as you knew versus what was actually...
That's so funny.
Like, was that the plan all along? Like, if these don't get in, we're just shutting the whole shit down. Like,
that absolutely was not the plan.
Because if that was the case...
And if that was the plan, I would have never brought my books over there.
I'd never see half these motherfuckers at, like, these indie conventions.
Right,
like, I feel like this was something that was, like...
The original plan was that because I have 7 issues of Hotshot done, we were going to launch in January of 2016, and we were going to release Hotshot once a month for 7 months. Then we were going to submit... wait, I'll get to that part. And so as Hotshot's coming out each month, we would slowly release the other 4 books on a timeline. So, like, Hotshot 7 would come, or Hotshot 1 would come out, and by the time Hotshot 3 is out, we'd release Vigilance number 1. And this was prior to our actual launch. So I think our launch was in March. But so by the time March came around, all the books would be out. Hotshot would still be month to month till the 7th issue. But then when the new issue of Hotshot came out, it would then move to bi-monthly, along with the other books. All the other books were going to be bi-monthly. Yeah. So this would have been a year of books coming out showing that we have, even if it is my old content, Legacy garnered us at least 700 new fans and followers. Yeah. And at our shows selling this stuff. So every show we went to, we would have had a new book, no matter what. And with Hotshot having 7 complete issues, there was no production cost for it. All we had to do was get it printed. Yeah. That's it. The book's already done. Yeah. We're going to do new covers on Hotshot. All the books were going to get new covers. And these books were just going to teardrop out for that year, setting us up. And then as we were doing this, we were going to submit Hotshot to Diamond first. And we're going to submit it to Diamond saying, we have 7 issues of this, and we're working on the 8th issue now. Like it's still going. Along with these other titles, to give them a preview of it, that we have dropping out in March, in May, in June, da-da-da-da-da. That was the original plan. But never was it ever stated, prior to me signing my creator contract, that if we don't get into Diamond, we're not going to be producing books. Never was that shit ever said. Diamond was always... up here on the left, like, yeah, we're going to keep trying to get in, we're going to keep trying to get in. But whether we get in Diamond or not, we're still going to make books. Yeah. We're going to produce books every other month.
To me, as an indie creator, yeah, that's always the thing, is like, sweet, get it into Diamond and stuff. But, like, that's the realistic goal of an indie creator is make the book, sell the book, like...
Like, it's not... I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. 99.9% of the chance it's hard work that gets you success in comic books. Every once in a rabbit blue moon, somebody with money comes along and says, oh, I like that, I'm buying that, I'm going to support you in doing that. That shit is like the lottery.
Like being a professional football player. Like, shit, I got my scholarship, I'm going.
Right. So
going all the way.
Other than that, it is hard work. Yeah. You've got people on your label that have had 10 plus years of comic book experience. Somebody that we all know and love, Dirk. Dirk has been doing comic books for 15 years?
At least.
And he has been faithfully going to shows. Faithfully putting out books on time, on schedule. Having a surplus of variety of comic books at his table. Going to events. Going to comic book shops. And just last year gets signed to Devil's Due first printing. Or first publishing?
First person, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That happened 15 years later.
Yeah. And that man brought a following. Like, you know,
he has a Facebook group of people, of fans that's like 600.
Mm-hmm.
Victor.
A lot of them are crazy, you know, like married women. I'm just going to go ahead
Crazy women that love
crazy
Shenango
women.
hair.
I love the Shenango.
So Shenango.
Shenango.
Victor has been making comic books as long as I have, since back in 2004.
Yeah.
And now he is widely known as the hardest working man in comic books. Freelance work for Wizard World. Mm-hmm. He's gone from attending Wizard World shows to being put on by Wizard World to being a moderator for Wizard World.
Remember
comic
the game.
book line.
Yeah, we all remember Victor with the game.
With the games and everything.
Stuff.
And that's 10 years plus of work.
Yeah.
I mean, no, damn it, it's 15 too.
Yeah.
So this stuff doesn't come overnight.
Yeah.
No, and I honestly, I'd say, in my personal opinion, someone who works in this industry who owns a comic book store should know these things.
You know, I want to say they should, but that's a completely different thing.
It is.
It is. That's the problem. Everybody thinks, oh, you own a comic store, so you should know these things. No. Owning a comic book store versus creating a comic book, so just opposite ends of
I get that, but what I'm saying is this is a person, and just, you know, if you're a person, like our friends at Pack Rat are the same way. Like,
Glad you brought them up.
You have tons of friends that are in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
You watch them go through these things. You watch, especially with Pack Rat, because they are the kings of championing small comics.
Yeah.
They watch every year these guys come in here and hustle these books, so they know, hey, this shit takes time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even to be a comic book store owner is similar in the way of being the comic creator. It's
incredibly difficult business to succeed in.
You don't start a comic book store to necessarily be like, I'll make lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
No, because we saw that happen about a year ago out here, and it failed miserably, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And the guy was great that ran it, but you've got to know what the hell you're doing, and you've got to be really good at it. And you've got to be lucky too.
Well, and even then, we live in the age of the digital world. Like, you know, you own a comic book store because that's what you wanted as a kid. Mm-hmm. You literally, that textile feel and smell of comics, that's something that gets you up in the morning. You own a comic shop because you love comics. You love other people to love comimics. You create a comic because you love comics and you want other people to love comics.
That's what we say. We say it about doing what we do. You don't get into podcasting to make money, and you don't get into indie comics to make money either.
Yeah.
Get in there because you have a fucking passion to do it, and that's why they're better most of the time.
Yeah.
That's why there's these amazing books out there that people have their fucking heart and soul into. That's why guys like us do what we do, because we have a passion to do it. Mm-hmm. And guys that are getting paid these overbloated salaries and shit like that, and they put out lazy ass ended books like shit that I read from Marvel and DC, unfortunately. You know, and there's still great people doing those work too, but there's a lot of fucking bloated shit ass books out there that never needed to see the light of day.
I'm constantly reading articles about like, oh, these books were pushed back because the cover artist couldn't,
couldn't meet the deadline,
couldn't meet the deadline and stuff. I'm like, you have like a month
to do, but like this is all you do.
Yeah.
This is it.
You don't do panels. You literally just do cover.
You can't get a cover now? But that's I'm glad that you brought Packer up, because when I tried to go get the books in the store, the first thing they said to me was, are we going to see the next issues of these?
Yeah.
Is this bi-monthly or quarterly? I would love to support you, but we get books in here that we only get one copy of them, and people ask for the next issues, and we don't have them.
Mm-hmm. And that looks bad on them.
That looks bad on them. That looks bad on us. And I know the owners of Pack Rat. They have supported me so much.
Yeah. They've
had me at their events. And, before I took my 2 years off, I was always up at Pack Rat. They knew who I was. And, that's them. That's them doing good business.
Yeah.
That's them, like, dude, I would love to help you, but I got to know if you're going to come out with these next issues. And I'm sitting here championing this company every damn day, saying, oh yeah, we're going to have the books out. Matter of fact, the books are already done. We're just going to get them to the printer. So they're about a month and a half away. We're going to have the books. Mm-hmm. As soon as Doug approves them, they go to the printer. We're good. I'm out here championing this, and you know what? I'm not trying to make this dude like just be the ultimate bad guy or not. If you don't have the money for it, you don't have the money for it. I get it. That's fine. But say that from jump. Mm-hmm. Don't fish us on or lead us on like you have for a whole year, trying to do this or trying to do that. Like, be 100% honest. I'll roll with you. I've got too much invested in it not to. If anybody's gonna understand about you not having the money at that time to pay for something, it's gonna be you. I've had a book. I get paid. I get percentage of profits on the books too because they're created on a project. But I get paid to draw Hotshot. Hotshot Volume 2, Number 2 has been done for over 8 months. My part of that book has been done. I didn't bitch once about not being paid. I didn't ask to be paid. I preferred that people got paid before I did.
Yeah.
I understood that this is a startup company, that we're beginning, and some sacrifices are going to have to be made. I would stand up and defend this dude to other people that were getting pissed off and waiting for things to happen. But I get the axe.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I could be wrong, I'm not, that this company was built on my damn back. Legacy Rising was built on my back.
It took a pre-established character that had already had so much of a following and so many issues already done, so it's like, hey, we're already good right there.
No, not even along that. The branding, the social media, advertisement, the hustle, going to become everything. The internship, all of it. That's me. Now, was I asked to do those things? I was specifically asked for some of those things. We're not going to say not all of it. But a lot of that stuff I did volunteer myself. And you know what? That was my fault.
But I mean,
I tried. I thought I was going behind this.
But again, it's not
throwing all in.
Like, you can't be sitting there and be like, "Oh, I'm an idiot for doing this," or "It was my fault for it." No, it's not. It's believing in a concept, believing in a company that will be a future, trying to build.
you said it. If the company succeeds, you all succeed.
Right, but to a degree, I'm still responsible for that. Looking back at this and the things that I'm pissed off about, some of the things that I'm pissed off about. When I say these things that I've done, like the branding, the advertising, the logo, and all this stuff,
you shouldn't work
I'm
for free.
Instantly killed with, but did he ask you to do those things? Yeah. Well, he did ask me to make the logo. He didn't ask me to do the branding. He didn't ask me to do the social media. I volunteered to do the internship. Again, because I want to try to make these things great and make the team succeed.
One thing I've always been told, ever since I was a kid, about work ethic is don't wait to be asked to do stuff. If you want to succeed in these things, you got to do them. You got to literally do them yourself. You got to make shit happen. You know, like that is the true essence of a good work ethic. Mm-hmm. So, those people who are like, "Oh, did he ask you?" And I've been like, how well do you do at your job? Like, does your boss have to constantly come and be like, "Hey, can you do work?" Like,
I never had to be asked, "Hey, are we doing this? Or do you have this? Or where's this at?" Yeah, it's already up in the Google Drive.
Those are the employees. You're like, God, I want more of those. I want the ones that are already like, "Hey, you don't even have to ask. I've already got it done, or I'm already doing it," and stuff like that. You're like,
I'm on it. Yeah. So I would have just loved to, because Pogues made a very good point. Like, I can't.
What?
Pogues.
Who?
Pogues.
What? I don't believe it. I don't believe it can happen. The White Devil never makes a good point. The White Devil never makes a good point.
He was like, man, because when I've come up there for the events that I've done with you guys, I saw how you and Doug interacted, and like, y'all were family. That's how you guys were so close. And there's so many things that piss me off, like how he's doing Danny right now. That's fucking disrespectful. Yeah. You're right now, you're spitting in Danny's face like, I don't respect what you do. And those books are amazing because of him.
Yeah.
The strain of a relationship that he's put between, and I'm partly responsible for it too, so I'll take ownership in that. But with, Jessica and Corey, I love them. I love being around them. I would go down to that comic book shop just to fucking hang out with Corey. Mm-hmm. I would have to drop my wife off to go do testing downtown. And instead of driving back home and waiting for it to get done, I go hang out at the comic book shop. You know how cool it is to see? Because I get this feeling a lot when, my brothers play with my kids or my kids play with them. And, when you take that extension and you extend somebody out, extend to them and they're part of your family. Mm-hmm. When I bring my kids to the shop and Corey's running around playing with my kids. And I get to go in there and joke around and, talk to Corey. or me and Jessica take pictures of each other and we're on Instagram and we're commenting on Facebook. Like I don't get to do that anymore because now there's a strain on our relationship. Yeah. I'm not mad at them because that's their dad. That's what they're supposed to back. Yeah. That's their father.
Of course.
You back and support your family.
Yeah, for family.
But I enjoyed them so much.
Yeah.
And that sucks. I enjoyed my relationship with him. I was perfectly fine with continuing to pay him his percentage per my creator agreement on those books. Mm-hmm. I was perfectly fine doing that. I even suggested that I get all the books printed with my logo on it, add up how many books you have in the store. So let's just say there's 3,200 books left in the store. So I would get them all printed with my logo on it. As I got them printed, as I sold them, I still pay your percentage. So I'm eating the printing cost, and I'm paying your percentage that I owe you for the books. Mm-hmm. The number 2 issues, which are all done, I would have got those printed up at a normal print run that Legacy would have got. Totaled those up, let's just say that's 2,000 comic books. I would have paid him his percentage on those 2,000 comic books. Once all those have been sold and done, I wouldn't be paying him no more percentage on that because that was what our agreement was per the creator contract that I had. But he wants me to pay some obscene amount of money now to be able to get the right to print my books back. He sent a letter to my printer, my local printer that he refuses to use, to tell them I can't get those books printed with him, or he's going to seek legal action.
Wow.
So, because he made bad business choices, because he didn't listen to damn near anything that we said when it came financially on how we should move these things and do this, he wants to make me pay for it. It's like, from what he's asking, it's around $24,000 that he wants me to pay back in order to be able to print my books to him. So he wants to make most of, or some of his investment that he invested in Legacy back off of me.
Damn.
But, my books can't be carried by Diamond because Diamond don't want them. Mm-hmm. They don't want your number 1 and number 2 selling book. Mm-hmm. They don't want those. Hotshot has been around for 10 years. I still sell that comic book. Yeah. All issues. I still sell them. But nobody wants my book. Emerald Quest. Emerald Quest has over 20,000 likes and shares on Facebook. But nobody's interested in that book. Nobody. Yeah. You know why that book doesn't sell? Because you don't push that book. Because you don't go to events pushing that book. You don't create your own events. You don't push to put the book in stores. There's no section in your own store for the books. You have a comic shop, but no section for your own comic books.
You just think that, like, that one boggles my fucking mind.
Yeah, wouldn't you want to sell your own?
Because I would paper the motherfucking walls with these comic books.
Hey, the toilet paper in my bathroom at my comic shop are all panels from my comic. Yeah. Oh, what do you know?
Money does not grow on trees. Yeah. I absolutely get it. I absolutely understand it. There's a huge investment. It's partially real easy for me to sit over here and say we could have did this, we could do this, we can do that, when I'm not the one signing the checks. I get that. But honestly, you ain't signed no checks either. Because it's been a year and you've only put out 1 book. And the presentation that you gave me was we were going to be putting out books every other month. This was a comic book company. And that's what we were doing. I was told, don't think of this as your whole income, but it can be a part of your income. And I ain't seen that part of your income. Have I been paid for the work that I have done on there freelance-wise? Yes, I have. Has my brother, Danny Cooper, been paid for it? No, he hasn't. Has other artists been screwed over and played to the left? Yes, they have. It's beyond, like I said, it's beyond frustrating and annoying. And to sit here and have the support from the people that I do, I can't even tell you how many back and forth fucking discussions I've had with my wife about, well, what's happening with the company, what's going on, why aren't y'all put out books, and my wife has every fucking reason in the world to ask these questions of me.
Absolutely.
And here I am, conversation after conversation, standing up for him, defending him. He's not gonna fuck me over. I've known this man for like the last 3 years. He has supported and helped me in so many ways. He's not going to screw me over. I trust him. It takes time. We are trying to build an actual company. We're not trying to fly out here and just break all law. Like, it takes time. We are building things. The work and effort I'm putting in, we're going to see something from it. Trust me, we are. These are conversations I'm having with my wife. Me talking to her with 4 kids. Trust me, we got it. It's going to happen. I'm not going to these shows just to, for shits and giggles. Yeah. I'm not doing these events. I'm not staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or pulling all-nighters to get stuff done along with the other things I'm doing for a pipe dream. We're going to do it. It's going to happen. And then you cut me. The person that's done the most work for you without asking for anything. The person that has supported you and helped you build this thing. In all honesty, outside of signing a few checks, getting a couple barcodes, I really want to know, what the fuck did you do?
I tell you, for me personally, and I'm probably Dave too, it's sad for us to see this happen. Because this is something that I believed in a lot.
Oh yeah, the moment we heard about Legacy and all of you guys, what you guys were doing, we were on board. We were like, this is gonna be awesome.
Finally a shared universe, not just a company creating. I have this comic, and that comic. No, a universe.
No.
Who has the balls to create their own universe like this? Like this meant something, and we talked about it all the time. And not even the fact that we have characters there, like that's just gravy on it. Like, that's awesome, whatever.
But it was like we enjoyed all of these things that were coming out, and we were excited to see, because to watch something grow is always awesome. And you're like, I know these guys, I know the work they're putting in, I know what that team's doing, and this is awesome.
To see a world that was built around a character that I personally love. Hotshot is a character that I personally love, that I invest time in, to reading, and that I enjoy the time that I do that, and I've read multiple times over and over again just because it's something that I love. And to see this happen, it's heartbreaking. But what I want to do is, since we're about an hour and 21 in, I want to talk about what the future holds. I want to talk about, will there be more Hotshot comics? Will there be more comics from Vigilance? Will there be more Heroes International? Will we ever get to see these comics?
Oh yeah, I'm not stopping. Fuck that. Like, I've had my moments where I've literally I've broken down, but I'm already working on the 3rd issues. I was able to retain my entire team for the new issues, and I'm sorry, I felt the cough coming. So the new issues are coming. I'm going to be working on them. And I'm working on 3 other comic books at the same time right now. I'm proud to say I still got Danny as my editor. We got a couple new writers for the newest issues that we're working on. We got a new artist stepping in on Heroes International. So I got all the stuff still plotting and planning for it. So it's all back under Freestyle Comics. The only thing that's in question right now are the 2 issues that were done underneath the Legacy banner. And it really does suck, and I hate to backtrack, but it's just like the writing was on the wall. Like, I've seen all these things that just kept happening, and I was like, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna be professional. I'm gonna work through it. And I feel real shitty because in all honesty, like, my brothers got fucked over in the situation, and from the moment that happened, I should have immediately backed them. And they are the most amazingly understandable people. And it's like, no, it's cool because I know you have so much more invested in it than I do. That was just a freelance gig for me. You have all your properties in there. Just keep working, keep doing what you're doing. And it just happened multiple times. Them getting fucked over. All 3 of them. Screwed. And it's real shitty of me. Like, I feel real shitty just because I should have seen it. Like, at the first moment, I should have been like, oh, no, that's fucked up. I can't roll with you. Didn't happen again, but I still stayed. Didn't happen again. Then, like, it just one after another. And this man, I should have known that man has no loyalty, not to anybody but himself. When I saw those things happen, and it should have just clicked. Your own family member said, "Oh, he says a lot of stuff. That doesn't mean he's going to do it." That's your own person said that, and I'm sitting here like, nah, he's gonna print the books. I mean, he's got to print the books. We've been working on these number 2 issues for so long. They've been so delayed. People want these issues. We need to print them. We need to put them out there. But Hotshot, as is, and will be going back to his originally numbering. So this will be Hotshot number 9. Script is already written. It's already laid out. Heroes International number 3 and Vigilance number 3. They've both been plotted. And I think personally you're going to get a kick out of Heroes International 3 and 4 because it's a 2-part story. Vigilance number 3, you're going to shit your pants. As much as you like the first 6 issues of Hotshot, and because you read that whole thing in the first stint, you're going to shit your pants with Vigilance number 3.
I can't wait.
Hotshot number 9 is a really important issue because it's a quiet issue. I tried to go back to some beats of Victor's immaculate number 3 issue with conversation and stuff like that, which it's needed. Web comics are going to keep going. I'm going to continue.
Web comics, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Basement of Doom. I have Basement of Doom slotted for 4 chapters, 11 pages each. Wolf may be a one-shot for right now. And Mike is Hotshot and Titan Origins are one-shots, but they all get wrapped up into the Hotshotverse comics. But I'm going to continue the Basement of Doom for sure. As long as I can do the internships with CCAD. And that's the other thing that sucks is that the interns have worked so hard. So unbelievably hard. And he just ended everything. Just like, yeah, I'm not going to carry those books. I'm going to focus my attention on what I have right now. It was like... You realize they're in college and they're getting credits for this stuff, right? Like, they need their credits. This is how they get their credits.
Yeah.
They're in an actual college. That's what they signed up for. There was applications they had to fill out and submit. They had to make time in their schedule for this. They've been coming down to your store doing work.
And you just, like, do that to them, like, halfway through the semester. I'm like...
Like, if you're not going to come out with any comic books, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
So they are, they're my interns now. So they work for Freestyle Comics. So I'm going to continue the internship, and that's how I'll run the web comics. I've been looking into doing a Kickstarter for the production of the 3rd issues. I'm hoping that with the following that I have and with the people that are working on the books, we can get the production of those number 3s funded and get those out there. And I will be sticking to a 3-month schedule. I can't go backwards. I've put too much time in it. There's too many people that have supported me and made sacrifices for me just to say, oh, I got to go. I have to quit. Like, I can't go backwards. Yeah. There's too many things happening this year. Actually, I think I have the date wrong, but I think it's May 3rd. They're going to be announcing me and a few different artists at the convention center that we have works of comic book art going into the convention center.
Nice.
That's fucking amazing, man.
I have I haven't revealed the artwork yet, but I have a 6-foot by 4-foot piece of Hotshot going to be hanging up in the convention center.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah. I'm going to be one of the featured artists in Black Comics Returns. It's a big ass graphic novel book featuring black creators and artwork and stuff, and that funded through a Kickstarter like last month.
I can't believe they didn't call me.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing something about that.
I did see that, yeah. People out there listening to this show, they might ask why we decided to do this show. Why we decided to give Mike a platform to talk about what happened with Legacy. And
we can, motherfuckers.
Well, that first of all, yes, because we give no fuck. Second of all, I want to tell a little story that happened yesterday, and that I think that speaks to the character of Mike Watson. Me personally. We were at Gem City Comic Con, and I was sitting there at the table chatting with Mike and Victor and Dirk on and off, and Dirk was being his crazy self, singing on top of chairs and shit. and we were watching people go by, because that's the greatest thing you do at a comic book convention, you people watch.
Mm-hmm.
And a young lady walked past and had a portfolio on her arm. And Mike, unsolicited, absolutely unsolicited, said, "Excuse me, is that a portfolio under your arm?" And she said, "Yeah, this is my artwork." He said, "Can I see the portfolio?" She said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And so I watched him go through it, and I watched him go through it several times and linger in places, and then explain, I'm not just a crazy person at a table. Like, these are my qualifications. This is what I do. This is why, you may want to be able to listen to the things I say. And he absolutely said, "You don't have to listen to anything I say. You just write me off as a crazy person. But can I give you some actual constructive criticism and feedback on what I see here?" And, she was very excited about it. And I watched him critique her work very fairly and evenly, and give her a realistic lesson in how to make comics and how to draw comics. Not only just talking about, this is what you did here, but hey, this is how you can improve this, and let me tell you about how to do line work when something is in perspective, and let me teach you how to do, background. This is in the middle of a Comic-Con with, hundreds of people walking around, people that could be stopping at that booth and buying a book. But this person, he takes the time to give a shit about something like that. Do you know how many tables we've gone up to at Comic-Cons, and Dave can attest to this, of people that we're fans of, Neil Adams for one, that that wouldn't take 2 seconds to even look up to talk to you, to even think about looking at something that you might be carrying with you?
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Oh, dude. More often than not, when you go up to some of these tables, you don't ever make eye contact with these people. Like,
even if they're signing a book or signing a print, they don't even look at you.
Down, and it's
And what happened with that young lady, Mr. Watson? What happened after that?
Oh my Watson, I love you.
I asked her, gave her my information, and said I do an internship with my publishing house, Freestyle Comics. And I don't know if you're available for the summer. We can do it over Skype or whatnot. But if you're interested, I am going to extend it out for the summer, and you can be a part of that. I actually have 5 interns right now, very awesome kids from CCAD, working for me this semester. And she was like, "I'm going to CCAD next fall," and I was like, "Oh wow, that's really an amazing coincidence." Like, that's really cool. So, well,
she's a very talented young lady. I was looking over your shoulder in that portfolio, and she's got some raw talent that's really could be directed in a positive fucking direction.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it takes a lot as a creator to say, like, I don't care that this person could be potentially competition for me at some point.
You could be better than me.
Yeah, I don't care if you might eventually be better at me.
Fuck you, you're better than me. Get out of here. I don't like you. I'm not helping you. Shit.
No, it takes a lot to give enough of a shit to pull someone out of a crowd at a show and be like, "Hey, no one ever did this for me, but let me do this for you," because you've encouraged that person to go into a life of trying to create, and man, that's really just something that touches my heart personally. So, if you ever have any question about what I think about the character of Mike Watson, that answers that question to me right there.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean it's just the truth. It's what there's a lot of guys in this. We have a lot of friends in this industry, and they are some damn good people. And I have a few friends in this industry that are not good people at all, like Pogue. Pogue is a bastard. No. And Dirt Man, he's a terrible, terrible man. Now, no, but we have a lot of people that we know and love in this industry, and I got to take that picture yesterday with you and Dirk and Victor, and to me, you three are the 3 hardest working men in independent comics.
I appreciate that. I was very honored by that comment because I know Victor and Dirk do a massive amount of work, and they're more seen in the comic scene than I am, and they do a lot. And for you to put me in that same category with them, I truly appreciate it.
It won't be forever that way. Victor, they all start somewhere.
Yeah.
They all start somewhere. And Victor's living the dream right now, and Dirk is living his dream too.
Yes, they are.
And you're going to live your dream.
It's a lot of hard work, man. It's a lot of hard work, so that...
That's how you know it's worth it, though.
Yeah, that idea of it's going to happen overnight and in less than 2 months with one book, we're going to get into Diamond. I mean, if they do, if that happens, that's great. All the more more to you. I just know based off of my experience, it shows it has more weight when you put out comic books. And I don't know where the relationship went sour, and I'm sure I'm guilty of some things myself. I don't think I am, but they may be there. I could be, one-sided for my own team, but
perhaps I didn't do enough free work for you.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No, I mean, here's the thing, though. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this is just your perspective of how things went down, and there's always another side to the story. But as a fan, as a friend, as a contemporary, I feel like you needed a place to get this out there, because this is the kind of thing. These are the kind of things that those that are getting into this business need to hear. When I started doing the Todd Files, I always called it a college course in making comics. And watching you with that girl yesterday was the same thing. That guy, even the guy that was standing there next to you watching that, he was like, "Oh, it's like being in college." That's what it is. Like when trying to do these things, it's college course in making comics. And this, even though this isn't the Todd Files episode, this kind of goes into that category. This is like, we talk about the positives. This can be the negatives, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But a negative can always become a positive. And I know Mike well enough to know that he's never going to stop working.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
So.
Like I said, just it's a lot, and I'm not going to stop working. We got a lot of stuff planned for these books. The teams that we put together, the teams that I've had and have, they still want to be a part of it, and I want this thing to grow, and I want it to keep going. I've got the support, and after going to Gem City, I've always had Vic, Ren, and Danny support. So that's like a given. Those guys they're awesome. I know I got my family and my wife to support me. She's always there for me. She's my rock. And, but I really, really, this past weekend, discovered my con family and, what that convention family is. And having people walk up to me and know what the situation is and apologize for it and think that that's a real shitty thing that happened. And people I don't even discuss that much with. And these are people that just may have bought one book from me and come and talk to me, and then being out there with everybody. And I really meant what I put in my post. To be a part of this con family, you have to be accepted. It's not something you can just kick the door in and be welcome to. And that's what those guys don't have. They think they can just buy their way into it, and you can't. It's something that has to be earned.
Yeah.
With hard work and respect. You just I literally get to roll around with the celebrities of the convention, not. Mm-hmm. Not the Guardians of the Galaxies or Captain America cast and crew and The Walking Dead. I get to roll around with the big stars. I get to go to their tables. I get to go out to drinking draws with them. I mean, it's con weekend is awesome, and my family and my con family are amazing people. And I was tore up about the legacy stuff. I really was. It really hurt me. And to be at a show with them and just to see them with their little smiles and just all happy and excited and just y'all didn't earn any of that. You didn't earn any of that, and you're just sitting there gloating we did this, but you didn't. And then to be able to be with my people, my con family and stuff, and just brush that off and keep making. I did a lot of sales at Gem City. If you looked around Gem City, you saw people with my books, you saw people with my prints, and that's a good feeling.
See one on the wall behind you over there. And one of Ren's.
Yeah.
And Seth the Moose.
And so, I got those three brothers of mine, and they're always egging me on. They're always saying, hey, don't even worry about that. You know what you can do. You know what you have done. Just get back out there. And love them and appreciate them. And my con family love them and appreciate them. My wife was really there for me that day that I came home, and I felt really bad for what I did. I felt really bad for what I did to her, and that sucks because I put my faith in the wrong person, and I would have never thought that person would have did that to me. And I don't think he really understands it from my side or sees it from my perspective because he's privileged, and you don't really understand things when you're privileged.
Mm-hmm. So you know that Basement of Doom webcomic? Those guys are handsome as fuck. What do you think?
I like the beards.
I like those beards, yeah, I tell you.
The beards are nice. James, he's killing the line work on that right now.
That guy is insane.
So I gotta ask, why is the sword named what it is?
Honestly, I don't know. I
was wondering.
I let them have free reign on that.
Okay, I was just wondering. I was like, is there some... Are we going to find out? Is there some insight to this?
Well, that could be story that's revealed or whatnot.
Okay, I was wondering. I was like, is there something behind it, or is it one of those things where somebody was watching too many pop-up videos?
Well, I think he is a fan.
I
think he is a fan severely, but there could be a story that gets on with that. I know the first 2 chapters. I know definitely.
My sword touches small children.
Definitely setting you guys up for your big ongoing adventures in the webcomic world or whatnot. But James is doing an excellent job. Veronica's doing the colors on that. Mm-hmm. Interns are doing the letter work and breaking the panels up on it.
The second pass on the cover with the color changes definitely.
But it went to the darker.
Yeah,
it looked really good.
I dig that hard.
Yeah.
James went ahead and did so. That's the variant for James. So he did that one. He did the colors on it. But yeah, I'm super. I'm always
James. If you're listening, that you can.
We love you, man. We love you.
Make me look pretty, and I like it.
Yeah. I love in the comic or in the webcomic with the girls and stuff. They're just like, you keep telling us the same story over and over.
I've been accused of that.
And I was like, what are you talking about? This is great. Shut up and listen to my stories.
I thought that was a great twist. I can't wait till we introduce the villain. We got Crystal Work is going to be in there.
Oh no!
Oh, she's going to be like our Doctor Strange character in the book that you guys go through for info. But it's going to be good times. Like I said, there's too much stuff that was in process last year that has been done. That's on there.
Devil.
There's just too much stuff in there for me to stop. So I'm not going to let anybody else's legacy stop Freestyle Comics.
Damn right. Hashtag Freestyle for life.
Yep.
Right here. Well, we're at an hour and 41 minutes, so we should probably wrap up.
Yeah, they're probably going to be like,
Mike, do you have any upcoming shows?
Dance. Come on.
I know I'm going to be at Wizard World Columbus for sure. Yes.
Free
Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day. I will be at
Pack Rat Comics,
along
with some ugly bastard named Todd.
Dave
will not be there, sadly.
Dave's beating up nerds.
But the Basement Beast will be there.
I'll be at Motor City Comic Con in Detroit in November.
I'm sorry.
I love that. It's a good show.
No, I'm just sorry you have to go to Detroit.
Or not. Well, Detroit has some good areas.
There's places outside of Detroit.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to say this as an Ohio person my entire life. I actually love Michigan. All the places I've got to go up there to Michigan. I love all the people up in Michigan.
Detroit.
They're good people.
It's a different subject.
I've done a lot of shows. We've done a lot of shows in Michigan.
All my shows in Detroit
they treat us like gold.
All my shows in Detroit have been good. So I can't complain about how they treat me.
It looks like a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah, because the stuff that happened in my in my teenage years when I went up to Detroit, I give Detroit shit for that. But yeah, it's coming back.
I can't wait for Free Comic Book Day.
We're taking it back.
Personally, I can't wait for Free Comic Book Day because we're going to be there. You're going to be there. Dirk is going to be there.
I'm so sad I had to give up though. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, Dave had to give up on Free Comic Book Day because of his prior commitments, but he was
what I was going to be doing at
he was going to be in an inflatable T-Rex suit in the joustring.
Beating up kids!
Awesome.
I've heard there's going to be a macaroni and cheese food truck, which I'm really kind of geeked for. And
if you guys are free, May 15th, we'll be doing the midnight release.
Yeah, that's definitely in the works. It's definitely in the works.
So
I'm ready for
stuff.
it. Is it chilling time, my friend?
Yep, dance monkey.
Alright, well, I am the monkey that dances. Well, if you like what you heard today on the Basement Fodder podcast, you can, of course, find all of our family of shows at our website, thebasementofdoom.wordpress.com. You can also find us at our network home of digitalnerdage.com. You can find us on this social media, on Facebook, under a myriad of different places. Todd of Basement Fodder, Dave of Basement Fodder, the original Basement Babe, the Den Mother of Doom. It came from the Q, Todd Files, Titan Trap Customs for your custom needs, and of course you can find me under Todd Dave and Dave under Dave Basement of Doom. You can find us on Twitter at Basement Fodder and also on Instagram with the same. And I believe that is everything.
Yep.
Yeah, if those of you again who are looking for new episodes if it came from the Q, we're finally in a place where we can start talking about that again. So we will get that out and done soon. And I'm also getting some feelers out there for new Todd Files episodes. So it is going to happen. It's just moving sucks, and I hate life.
Shit takes time.
That's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of the Basement Fodder Podcast. I want to thank Mike for coming out and giving us an insight into the world of making comics, as he always does, in his own special brand of awesomeness. And then I want to thank you for being a good friend, too. And for letting us... I want to thank all of our comic book friends for letting us be a part of this community, because it means more than you could possibly imagine to get treated as a contemporary when we don't really even make comics. But I want to thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Thank you for having me and letting me ramble on about this.
I want to thank Dave for letting me stare at his beautiful beard every day. No.
You're welcome.
That's going to wrap it up.
It's fucking glorious.
That's going to wrap it up for this week. As always, from the theoretical basement of doom, I'm Todd.
I'm Dave.
And he's Mike Watson.
Mike Watson.
And until next time, the theoretical basement door, if I can make the fucking mouse work, is closed.
Ow, my foot.